Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. During our last video, we saw that in episode 1123 of One Piece, Kobe, after preventing Avalo Pizarro's attack, is rescued by Helmeppo. The mission to save Kobe is a success, and the Marines prepare to retreat from Hachinosu, leaving Garp gravely injured. In a cut to Fuchsia Village, we see the residents' concern for Garp. Makino expresses her fears, while the mayor tries to reassure everyone, reminding them of Garp's legendary resilience. The tension is also felt by Dadan, who questions the actions of both Garp and Luffy. In the New World, a massive marine fleet of over 30,000 sailors surrounds Egghead Island, led by Admiral Kizaru, who reflects on his mission to eliminate Vegapunk, his old friend. Although aware of the presence of the Straw Hats and Vegapunks on the island, the Marines cannot destroy Egghead due to its valuable technology. On another ship, the Gorosei Jai Garcia Saturn monitors the situation, determined to keep all secrets safe. He plans to take strict action against anyone attempting to escape with information about the lost century. We then discover that York, one of Vegapunk's facets, was the traitor who revealed Vegapunk's plans to the elders. However, she begs for protection after being captured by the Straw Hats and expresses a desire to become a world noble, negotiating with the elders to ensure her survival. The episode ends with York in a panic, asking the elders to rescue her from Luffy, leaving everyone surprised. Meanwhile, the Straw Hats control York's fate as the Marines advance toward a possible war. Now, like the video and subscribe to the channel, because only here you won't go without One Piece episodes for 6 months. Now let's get to the video. My name is Monkey D. Luffy, and I'm the man who will become the Pirate King. The captain of the Straw Hats yelled this to the 5 elders of the world nobles as his crew members wondered what he was doing. Luffy then announces, "We've already allied with Dr. Vegapunk," warning that if the elders care about York's life, they should remove the entire fleet surrounding the shore, while York screams desperately for help. We then see the Gorosei questioning if the one speaking over the Denden Mushi is Luffy of the Straw Hat, and they ask how many people are alive in lab phase. Luffy starts counting and says that, including the injured, there's a total of "Don't you dare, Luffy!" Robin shouts, stopping him, explaining that talking with the elders would give away too much information, and she says they shouldn't know too much about them. But Luffy is excited, apologizes, says Robin was right, but insists there's no problem because they will withdraw the fleets immediately, which obviously isn't going to happen, and Usopp yells that at him. "In your dreams, Luffy! Don't underestimate the Marines." At that moment, Saturn, who was watching the end of the message, issues an alert, saying they must protect 3 things on that island at all costs: York, Punk Records, which contains Vegapunk's brain, and the power plant, as it is necessary to build the Mother Flame. At this moment, Marine Vice Admiral Doberman questions Saturn, noting that Rob Lucci and his squad are still there, not to mention the other Cypher Paul agents, and Saturn surprises him with his response. He says he's only considering the occurrence of the worst-case scenario, stating they need to prioritize what is important, and that, in his view, human lives are no different than insects. Even if they decrease, they'll reproduce again. The mission is then accepted by Doberman. At that moment, we return to the island where we see York crying desperately, shouting that she had made a deal with the 5 elders and that if the Straw Hats hurt her, they would erase the existence of the entire island, just as they did with Ohara. At this point, she's hit by Nami, who continues beating her. York says she'll tell the Gorosei, and Nami replies that she can complain all she wants, as they don't care. Then we have a small celebration among the Straw Hat Pirates. Robin first tells Nami to calm down because York can't do anything. Chopper then asks Robin if her wounds are better, to which she says yes thanks to him. Afterward, we see Chopper being cute, saying he didn't like the compliment, and we see that Cypher Paul members were also there. Kaku says he still blames himself, despite having faced 2 of the Seraphims, and Lucci says he understands but should sleep to forget it. We also see Lilith crying and shouting, sad about Shaka, Pythagoras, and Edison, even though Edison is still alive. Additionally, Usopp asks her to stop screaming, as he's trying to contact the basement. However, Lilith continues crying, as 4 of the satellites were severely marked, and 2 of them lost their lives. Usopp then shouts to the people in the basement, asking if everything is okay, and we get a view of that place. We see that down below. They're celebrating, chanting the Straw Hats' name, although some say they are still enemies and are sad about it, while others thank them for the food and say they owe them. In the end, one thing is certain. They said they were safe, and now they only needed to be taken out of that place because they feared the Seraphim still present. However, they still felt secure due to Vegapunk's explanation, who answered some of their questions. The Seraphims were on their side, and if if they lost control, he still guaranteed everyone's safety, as they were trapped in bubbles, made from the same material as the pacifista's armored bubbles. Not even devil fruit users could escape from them. At that moment, we see the pacifistas questioning how they dared to trap them like that, also saying they didn't care about those people because they had never received orders to eliminate them. They then respond to S the Snake, saying that despite everything, they were grateful to her for reversing the petrification, and even Vegapunk doesn't know why she did it. But this is explained in another flashback. Luffy had held her and told her that she needed to reverse the power on them, as they were his companions, and she was the only one who could save them. She then blushes, embarrassed, and says she'll do it, and asks him to stop looking directly into her eyes. Jinbei then laughs heartily, saying she's a perfect copy of Hancock, as she despises everyone except Luffy. He even remarks how curious that is. Vegapunk responds that it really is very interesting. Not even he knew this was one of the traits transferred to the clone through lineage factor. Luffy then thanks her again and she blushes once more. We then see a more serious conversation, where it's revealed that they can't open the Frontier Dome, and without disabling this barrier, it's impossible to escape. This happened because York set a password and didn't share the information with the other Vegapunks. Vegapunk then talks to Nami, who reveals to them that the log post hasn't set a place for them to go yet, but has a location marked since Wano, northeast of this island. And Vegapunk then reveals the Straw Hat's next destination, Elbaf, the island of giants, leaving Usopp and Luffy extremely excited. Vegapunk then says they're lucky the ship is in the lab phase. However, they are surrounded, so there's no way to escape via the coast. He then says they need to head northeast from the other side of the island, and the only good point is that the Vega Force Oomon is positioned close to the Straw Hat's ship. Everyone then starts moving, with a group including Lilith, Bonnie, Luffy, and Frankie running to move the ship, making Lilith, who had never left the island, excited. But remember I mentioned that Lucci and Kaku were with them at the previous meeting? Now let's go outside the dome, where Saturn was meeting with Kizaru, saying he had received a call from Rob Lucci, who informed him that the Straw Hats were pretending to be in control of the situation, but they were actually cornered. Saturn then tells Kizaru that the Frontier Dome is a laser-based defense system, and perhaps Kizaru could manipulate it, being a man of light. Kizaru says that it might indeed be possible, but that Vegapunk's guard inside the dome was his friend. Saturn then says that Kizaru should ignore him, and Kizaru responds that he couldn't ignore a man determined to fight for his duty, and that he would never betray his ideals. Furthermore, he says that at the slightest attack, Sentomaru would order the marine ships to be sunk immediately, but he tells the Elder not to worry, as Rob Lucci was smart and told them exactly what they needed to know. At that moment, we see the attack about to begin, with the Marines preparing for it. On the other side, the Straw Hats finally reached the ship, but it wouldn't be that simple. Sentomaru was being attacked by Kizaru, and from afar, Luffy sensed what was happening, alerting everyone. Someone very powerful was coming. And so, we come to the end of today's episode. Comment on what you thought and what you expect from the next episode. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.